Welcome to Bridging Gaps, the business podcast sharing the challenges and stories of fellow business owners.
Hello and welcome back to Bridging Gaps, the business podcast. It's been ages since I wrapped up season 3, and I'll be honest, it's been a lot longer than I'd actually initially planned. But there's been a lot going on, and I realized that I did need that break to allow myself to focus on some of the other aspects of what I'm doing in my business. But I didn't forget about the podcast. I've been interviewing people as well as some other interviews that were already wrapped up and are waiting to go. So I'm really excited to be back here to start season 4. Now, season 4 is going to be a little bit different to the previous seasons, and that is actually true of each of my seasons. As I'm becoming, I guess, maybe more confident and clearer about what I want to speak about, each season is evolving. Season 1, just interviews, great people, great conversations, all about that person. Season 2, spread my wings a little bit, great interviews, great people, some mini interviews, and a couple of episodes that were just me talking about various things. Season 4, oh no, I've got that wrong. Season 3 started off fast and furious with Microbiz Matters. Loads of information that I recorded, tried to split out into separate little interviews with other business owners as well, to tie into a specially themed week of podcast interviews that then continued on with some of the other interviews from different people over the course of season 3. Not to mention, of course, some more fabulous guests. So what's in store for you on season 4? Well, season 4 is going to have yet more fabulous guests. I've got some of them lined up. More are in the pipeline, getting ready to schedule dates in with them. A couple have needed to be rescheduled for various reasons on my side or their side. So lots of fantastic stories and challenges and inspiration really coming in season 4. But also, I'm going to share a little bit more about my journey and how things are working in my business and what's happening and what my focus is and some of the things that I'm learning as I go along, both from the interviews that I'm doing and my own personal experience. So we'll be doing some of that. We'll have interviews. I'm also hoping, and we're going to see how this bit pans out, but because I'm now working with people who want to start their own podcasts, I'm hoping that I can get some of them to come along, that we can learn a little bit about why they want to do a podcast, and also maybe hear just a bit of their first podcast or one of their episodes, depending what stage they're at. Because I'd really like for you to hear some of these different podcasts and to I guess, widen your podcast listening options. I'm sure there's a much more succinct way to say that without you necessarily having to go out and find more and more new people. So that's another aspect. The other one is that I'm going to be looking for businesses who want to come on to give a tip to, actually not a tip, but several tips and advice that are relevant to the period of time in which I'm speaking to them. So, for example, if I was speaking to somebody towards the end of August, they might be giving you advice about things that you wanted to do or might want to take into account as things move into September. So there'll be different businesses talking about their recommendations and advice for you, and they'll actually be sponsoring that episode, and they might even be providing tips across some of the other episodes across that period of time as well. So a little bit different, a little bit more variety, and we'll see how it all goes. So what's been happening for me? In the past few months, I have developed what I call a podcast pre-launcher course. It's a face-to-face workshop, And I've run a few of those, and having trialed it on those few occasions, have realized that the half day that I was hoping to do it in isn't enough, and that I want to run it as a full day session. So I've been going through a learning curve myself of trying to figure out how to get the message out there, how to get people signed up, and then also to figure out whether that course actually works as it's been developed. It's been really exciting. I absolutely love speaking to people. I love giving them the tools that they need, the information that they need to understand what's involved in putting their podcast out, and also then learning about what they think their podcast is going to be about. And it's been so inspirational. I've spoken to some just amazing people, and they've shared things that are just so personal in some cases. Some, people, because their podcast is going to be about them, that they're sharing why they feel that you should listen to them and what you can get out of their stories, as well as what they want to bring to you or to have you bring to the table as well. So it's been really fantastic. And that's part of the reason I really want to try and get some of these people onto the podcast now, so that you can hear them and hear about their stories and see if it's something that resonates with you. Because I know that they won't all resonate with everybody, but some of them, will hopefully be people that you want to go and listen to as well. So that's one of the things I've been working on. I've also been, as many of you will know, if you're just starting up a business, it's hard. It's really hard work, and it's hard to get the money flowing. It's hard to get the right packages out there. It's just hard. So I've been looking at other things that I can do and other ways that I can bring some money in. And this has meant that I do a number of things at this point. So while podcasting and supporting people in producing their podcasts and figuring out what their podcast is going to be about and training them is my key focus, and it's really where I want to develop. I'm now also finding that I'm running some Facebook ads for people. I'm also helping set up MailChimp. Actually, it doesn't have to be MailChimp, but mail automation for people, and helping them to define their online courses as well. So really taking on some of those technical aspects that not everybody's either not good at or they don't have the time to do it, and trying to get them in a position where they are then self-sufficient and can continue with whatever they need to do. So for example, with a mail automation, my goal is to set that automation up for somebody so that they know that it's there running and they're good to go. So lots of variety in the work that I'm doing at the moment. I've also been to some fabulous venues, and there was one venue that I really just want to share with you because it is so amazing. So it's called the Woodhaven Inspirational Space, and it's in Woking. And it is a space that it's a house, basically. And it's been created in such a way that there's just something really calming and inspirational about it. Everybody who was on the course that we did there just the other week said the same. They really found something inspirational about that space. So if you are looking for a venue for an event, get in touch with them. It's absolutely lovely. Unlike going to a hotel, you get sole use of the space, and it's a big bit of space. It's got your standard meeting rooms, but you can, you've got use of the outside areas. You've got use of, living space. Just check it out, what I'm saying. I'll put the details in the show notes. So, and then the next workshop is coming up. So remember I said that I've decided that the half day is not working. Half day is not enough. So on the 5th of August, I'm going for my first whole day workshop. And this is at another great venue, which I'm really interested to see how well it will work. We'll be in Grayshot, so a bit of a change from where we were. So hopefully reaching out to people in Grayshot and Hazelmere and Farnham, so a little bit closer to that side of things. And it's at the Dog and Hair. And the Dog and Hair is this wonderful new shop. They do dog grooming. They've got lifestyle products. They've got a mixture of, clothing for people, toys, and everything you could ever think of for dogs. It's kind of doggy heaven. When they get to go in, they get loads of treats as well as toys. So that's where we're going to be. And in the back of that, they've got some space, which we're going to use for the workshop and to just see how it works. It's got a little area we can break out in. So I'm really excited about partnering up with the Dog and Hair to put on this workshop and for them to, they want to offer more events and venues to be part of the community, to be part of the business community. And for me, it's a different area. It's a chance to explore what this course is going to look like as a one-day course. So I'm really excited. And there's loads of work for me to do around that as well. So for me, what's coming up is over this next month, I've accepted a couple of challenges. I'm doing Richard Wood's 30-day challenge, which is to generate leads. I think it's 30 leads in 30 days, something along those lines. Really looking forward to moving forward with that. Richard is always so generous with his knowledge and his information. I've interviewed Richard several times, and there's just something about him that I just really like. He's just a really genuine, nice guy, and he knows what he's talking about, and he loves helping people to progress their business. And I like that about him. I really do. I'm going to repeat that again. I really do like that. So that's one of the challenges I'm taking on. I'm also signed up for an accelerator. So this is I can never get it right. I think it's the M3 Enterprise Growth Accelerator, something like that anyway. And for that, I had my first meeting with my advisor on Friday last week. And terrifying. He's a really nice guy, really practical, really helpful. We went through, where I am. We had a good open discussion. And so my challenge now is to really start getting more business in and to really push hard. And that's pushing myself hard, actually, as opposed to pushing people. Push hard to put myself out there a bit more, to try and expand my horizons a bit so that I can bring in the business that I need if I'm going to make this work. So exciting and slightly terrifying times coming up, and starting the podcast again, obviously. So it's all happening, and I'm hoping that the weather stays absolutely gorgeous because I love that. And it's all good. Fantastic. I can't wait for the next episodes. I can't wait to get everything going. And I really hope that you guys will be back joining me with the next episode. And the next episode is going to be part 2 of Richard Dwyer. Richard and I had a fantastic conversation. It was almost 2 hours. And so I had to split it in 2. If you haven't listened to the first one yet, go back and check it out. I'll post a link to that specific episode in the show notes so you can find it really easily, and then hang about to next week, next Sunday, when you can expect to hear Richard Dwyer part 2. So that's me, Deborah Levitt, wrapping up the first episode of series of season 4 of Bridging Gaps, the business podcast. Bridging Gaps, the business podcast, was produced by Deborah Levitt of Bridge Road Consultants Limited, with original music provided by Pete Dineley.
You've been listening to Deborah Levitt on Bridging Gaps, the business podcast.